Welcome to Objections with Stan Willis. I'm Michael Morris. This is C. Stanley Willis. Good to see you once again.
That was not even funny.
I like it because it reinforces. So if I want someone to call in here and go, is C. Willis in?
C. Willis in?
Yeah. You know, I think
I probably get that all the time, like credit card offers and stuff like that.
I hope you get it at American Express.
What I really like is like when I get an email and it's like, Dear C. Because everyone goes by a letter.
Is it just the letter?
Yeah, it's just a letter.
See, I want it to be something different where it's SEE, like C. Stanley Willis.
Yeah, no, it's just a letter.
Wait a minute, that's perfect. If you're in trouble, C. Stanley Willis. That's a T-shirt. We should be making that.
Wow.
No, you don't like it?
That's like a go call Saul or
Better Call Saul?
Better Call Saul kind of a thing there.
Yeah, but we're not looking for high-class individuals.
Hokey. It's really hokey. I'm looking for high-class individuals.
Well, get on the personals page. I want to ask you something about high-class individuals because as this show is being done, Ukraine has fallen. And as Nate and the audience on other shows know, I'm a Putin guy. This is my guy. So Putin, way to go, Vladdy. You did it. You stuck up for yourself. You also feel the same, don't you, Stan? You're very pro let's bomb everybody for no reason.
I don't think we should be bombing anybody for any reason.
Well, that's the show for this week.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into this because we already have the Western media is talking about how Putin is a monster. Mm-hmm. They've continued that narrative. Do you want to discuss why Putin has gone into the Ukraine?
Well, let me say, first of all, I think Putin is a
genius.
He is a
handsome.
He's a serious guy, and he is a extremely pro-Russia guy. Which is, if you're Russian, that's what you want.
Yeah, it's very fortunate he lives in Russia and he's pro-Russian.
And he is a very experienced statesperson. Guy who leads states.
Fellowship.
A guy who leads states. He's a very experienced one. And I think that when you look at this, I mean, Russia has been very clear about what their interest is. Their interest is that they don't want NATO to take over or to make the Ukraine a partner or a party to the treaty, which I think was actually written down at some point back in the 80s or 90s that we wouldn't make the Ukraine.
It was, and then in 2008 that was revised for the Ukraine for Georgia.
So, I think what Putin's interest is he doesn't want NATO or which he perceives at least at some level as an enemy. He doesn't want them to have a partner that shares a border with him where NATO can put all of their weapons and all those kinds of things. So I think that's what their interest is, and I think that what he's trying to accomplish is to make it so that NATO can't do that. The sad thing is, I'm not sure from a U.S. perspective, I'm not sure that our tactic and the way that we've handled all this has been all that great. I think that what the Biden administration has done is basically have baited Putin into doing exactly what he's doing. I mean, right. I don't think that the threats, the threats of all these sanctions and things that they're threatening against Russia have any teeth to them, and ultimately what you're risking is a major war with Russia, which I don't think anybody wants. I think that's a disaster for the entire world if we're in a shooting war with Russia. So honestly, I think that the whole thing has been played very poorly by the Biden administration.
Can I ask you this? Because when you were talking about Putin, the difference being that Putin is, I mean, let's be honest, this guy is a killer from day one. He didn't get to power because, hey, he's a nice guy.
You don't become the head of Russia by being everybody's friend
Right.
and a trustworthy guy.
What was I'm trying to think of the name of the Russian, the thing everybody was afraid of over there, the Russian, like their MI6 or whatever.
Right.
I forget the name of it, but whatever. He was like the head of that. I mean, he was taking out whatever it was. I mean, he was the head of that crew. This is a man that's known to kill people.
Right.
And then Joe Biden is a man that's known to not do any military service whatsoever. I mean, when you look at, we don't have, what was it Kennedy said, or I think it was Eisenhower said that God forgive the guy who doesn't have the military experience to be the president. Mm-hmm. We haven't had that in a long time. We've had people that have worked in the CIA. We've had people that we kind of handpicked to be there. But these aren't brawlers. And I look at him as a brawler.
Mm-hmm. He definitely is.
And when you take somebody like that and you're trying to sanction them and all that, they don't care. Because those people also have allies that don't like the West. So China, whatever sanctions are going to happen, they're going to shut down these pipelines and all this. China's already agreed to buy as much wheat as Russia can sell them to the end of time to help their economy. So it's not just Russia we have to worry about. It is if we decide to get in a conflict with them, China's on the outside as an investor, not just buying the wheat, but they're investing in Russia anyway. I think we have the West has gotten weak in terms of our ideology. We're trying to make safe spaces and everybody is worried about their pronouns. Over there, where they've had these restrictions and sanctions, they're tired, they're angry, and they're looking for a reason for a fight.
Well, and to a degree, and the thing that I think bothers me about the way that we're going about this is we're taking the two largest armies in the world besides ours, and we're kind of simultaneously picking a fight with both of them. And not only that, but we're driving those two armies closer together. Right. And at the same time, the Chinese are making all these treaties with Turkey and Iran, and,
Saudi Arabia.
And so, the Chinese are and the Russians to a degree are also solidifying their kind of network of friend groups, shall we say. I mean, but you look at a country like Turkey, and they've got a pretty powerful army. I mean, that's a military state that, if we're in a conflict with Turkey by ourselves and just Turkey, okay, we probably can overcome that. But you throw China and Russia in there with Turkey, and all of a sudden you've got a pretty formidable military establishment, right? That we're trying to go against. And I'm not a big fan of war anyway. I know that sometimes it's inevitable. You need to have a strong military. You need to have a strong defense of the homeland. We need to be able to protect ourselves, and I get that, and I fully am in favor of all that. But I think that the way that we the way that our administration has handled this particular instance has been just terrible. It's just been terrible. It's almost as if we really are trying to get into a war with them. It is the way it appears to me.
Well, I think part of the thing that bothers me the most is we talk about democracy and freedom. Mm-hmm. Well, the Ukraine is not a democracy anyway.
No,
so
it hasn't been.
So we're not defending that. It's the same reason to go into the Iraq War, Afghanistan, is that these atrocities committed against their people, as though the United States is the purveyor of what's moral and what's not, what isn't. And I think that the American people believe that because they see that on the news. I actually had a conversation with somebody, a very good friend of mine, that said, I forget how we got on the topic, but we were talking about Joe Rogan. Uh-huh. And she says, he's a racist and a bigot and he's an idiot. And I said, oh, so have you been listening to the show, or have you listened? She goes, I would never listen to that. And I thought, okay, well, that's fine. And she said, I get all my news from CNN. And I said, I'm sorry. CNN doesn't get anything wrong. Like, I will admit he gets things wrong. Even he'll admit that. She goes, how could CNN get things wrong? And I said, okay, so let's say that's the case. MSNBC.
Well, they don't have any sex scandals or anything there at CNN.
No. Well, the moral thing, as long as you get the news right, you can put your fingers in anybody.
Really?
I mean,
is that the rule?
Edward R. Murrow said that on CBS News in the 1950s, and at least I think he did. Knuckle deep, kids. So I asked her about MSNBC. Who's doing this? When you hire people that are former CIA analysts or generals, or all the networks do it, because war is good for television.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm.
And credentials are good for
absolutely
television.
I was like the guy who hasn't been there in 10 years. So he's not in the intelligence community. He's retired. Uh-huh. What do you think about what's going on today? You're giving your opinion.
Right. Absolutely.
Unless you're in that war room, you're giving your opinion. But the other thing is, you can't put anything on television that has not been handed to you.
That's probably true.
Right? So when the White House puts out, when Jen Psaki or somebody else puts something out, they're reading right from that.
You think she's cute, don't you?
What I can't understand is how she has that peppermint patty hairdo. It's perfectly symmetrical. Uh-huh. Like, no matter which way she turns, it's almost like it's a hat.
You think maybe it's a hat?
Oh, you think that she has alopecia? Wait, where's the thing where you're bald and you have to wear a wig?
I think it's alopecia.
Well, whatever it is, it looks perfect on her. She comes across as though she hates doing that job.
Would you like to go out with her on a date?
Is she asking?
I don't know.
Did she email you at C. Willis?
No, but maybe we could hook her up. Nate has connections. Nate could probably.
She probably watches this show and gets tips because we say so many good things about the government.
Well, right, and I'm sure.
I think that we're on one of those watch lists.
I mean, honestly, it's like Joe Rogan than us as far as popularity.
Do you understand? If we could just get canceled, we could be so popular.
Could we? If we get canceled?
But we have to find a way to get canceled.
I don't know.
I think my pro-Putin stance is going to help, but you're going to have to do something. You're going to get off your ass and say something controversial. I mean, not right this minute. I see that you're trying to think of it. Like, don't think too hard about it.
I'm just not a controversial guy.
And that's why this show will never take off. We could have dishwashing, vacuum cleaners, My Pillow, but you refuse to take the bait and make us popular.
My Pillow?
That's a company. No, yeah, not your actual pillow. Mike Lindell. He also sells sheets.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with this? Do you not know the My Pillow thing?
Yeah. Where your wife will let you have them. He supported Trump and said the election was stolen and there was lots of fraud. And
right. Let's talk about the facts later. Okay. Those are all true. But what was your point about it?
I have no idea.
Okay. See, that's a controversial statement.
Wondering why we're talking about this.
Because I'm trying to get that asshole to listen to the show so he'll sponsor it. That guy's throwing out money all over the place. He's giving the truckers money and pillows and all that. All right. Just saying, I don't even have a bed.
Okay,
if that guy could.
Mike, if you're watching, forget the fact that he just said you're an asshole. And
I didn't.
Because we don't really think that. We think you're a good guy and a good thinking person.
Nate, when you edit this together, put a lot of pictures of Mike Lindell in there and make that the thumbnail on YouTube so that we would get so canceled. If somebody saw like us and Mike Lindell in the middle, YouTube algorithm's going to pick it up.
We have a tree in the middle.
Yeah,
we could hang pictures of him.
This tree makes it look. We could be anywhere. Yeah. We could be in Columbus. We could be in the Virgin Islands because this is kind of like one of those.
The Virgin Islands.
Yeah, like it's a fancy tree.
It doesn't look like a palm tree, dude. It's a virgin tree.
We should tap this and see if they're sapping it. Why do we have one decoration in this entire thing? Why did we even put this here?
I don't know.
This is the worst set we've ever been on. I just want to say.
Well, it's the only set. We could go in the conference room again if you want.
That has 2 trees in it.
It has 2 trees and a TV and a credenza.
Well, speaking of what doesn't have trees, let's get back to Ukraine because that thing's burning to the ground.
I think we should put Nate in the background.
I would like to have Nate in the background, but we're trying to do a thing where no one sees Nate because it's funnier because we'll have like a big moment where you see him. So he should actually be behind us. Yeah, but he should be behind us, but looking at the wall. So you just see his back.
We should have a Nate reveal, but he should be dressed like Larry the Cable Guy.
Well, we were trying to figure out like what would be the most impactful thing.
Get her done.
Because Nate is sheer electricity. And if we put him on screen, do we wait for the 100th show between the two shows we have going, or do we do it 100 shows apiece?
100th show. I kind of like it.
Nate, how many shows are we at now? We're at 5. 27, 28. So in 5 more years, they'll see your face. Maybe. If we're not under martial law here.
That might be too soon. I'm not
right.
sure.
Let's go 150. Ready. What if people on the other side think that Nate's like super, like he's a Brad Pitt looking guy?
He is.
Yeah.
The
guy's missing like 4 fingers on his right hand.
A handsome man. Why are we talking about Nate? I thought you were
talking
about
the one. I'm trying to talk about the Ukraine, and you're talking about Nate and his sexy
Nate's
ass.
Not even Ukrainian.
He looks it though. He's got that Bolshevik beard going on right now. That guy looks like a guy you buy cigarettes from on the back of a truck. But the Ukraine. So let's further this because
I've never bought cigarettes from the back of a truck.
Those guys are always smoking, so you know that they're good.
They're always smoking. You know them.
I don't know. I don't know every Russian person that sells things.
You buy cigarettes from the back of a truck often.
What am I going to do? Go to the store and pay full price? I don't think so. You can buy a TV off the back of a truck in L.A. If you hijack a train, you can get anything you want, as long as you pay the taxes.
Yes, you got to report that on your income tax. Don't forget, public service announcement: if you loot something, you have to include that on your tax return. Add its
I have a workaround because I talked to my buddy who's an investor, and he said if you just say you're borrowing it, you don't.
Borrowing it?
He's not a good financial advisor. I just asked him a question, and he said it'd be fine.
Okay, you run with that.
You have to run with it. If you steal something from a train, you don't walk away. You have to run from the train.
I don't know. I saw the videos. They looked like they were walking. They didn't look like they were in any hurry at all.
Have you ever tried to run with a 70-inch TV in a box? It's fucking insane. You can't do that.
I've honestly never tried that. Have you?
No. I would, but my back hurts so badly, and I just don't want to. I don't want to risk getting hurt.
Right.
So I think
back to the Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, their trains aren't moving because they're being bombed. So what your thought on this is what? That because the U.S. now can't get involved. It's too late, right?
I think that I mean, it kind of looks like Russia is going to basically annex the 2 provinces that were rebel provinces.
In one of the provinces, they were asked to come in.
Right.
I can't remember. Right. I can't remember the name. It started with a Donatello, the Ninja Turtle.
It's Donetsk.
Something like that. That was the one they were asked to come in. Yeah. So the one with the D.
Right.
The big old D.
The big D.
They were asked to come in.
And you don't mean Dallas.
Yeah. All my exes live in Dubresk.
Donetsk.
Whatever. What are you, the Ukraine expert all of a sudden? Before we started this show, you didn't seem to know the fashion or anything that they wear there. And all of a sudden now you know the names of all the towns.
I'm not really big on Ukrainian fashion.
Well, now you say that. Why don't we?
If anybody out there is big on Ukrainian fashion, can you shoot us an email and tell us about it?
I'll tell you what they're wearing today. Bulletproof vests. That's what they're wearing.
We're very in helmets. We're very interested in Ukrainian fashion.
Can I ask you this question? Because I don't know if we talked about the no, like a separate question. That was part A to the question.
Okay, so your second question.
Did you see the report by Richard Engel where they went NBC News? My favorite thing about Richard Engel is like there's a bombing and all this terrorist stuff.
You have a favorite thing about Richard Engel?
Well, my favorite thing is what he does. He's either there at the beginning or the end. No, it's his holier than thou because I've seen more war than you've seen type thing.
I see. Like Brian Williams, the helicopter.
Brian Williams is an American hero, by the way.
He is.
He almost got shot down in a helicopter. Hillary Clinton almost got shot down in a helicopter as well. Now, both of those things aren't true, but they were both reported by NBC News. And then they both went on David Letterman to tell those stories, and then they found out it was false, and nobody was upset.
Right.
But Richard Engel went to this village where nobody spoke English.
I almost died in a helicopter crash.
Today?
No.
God damn it! It would be so much better if you said today. Because if you're gonna lie,
I was
make
in
it
a
top.
helicopter at the Grand Canyon.
Is this a real story?
Yeah, and
why did you wait till now to
we
tell
went
me?
all the way around the Grand Canyon and landed. But if the helicopter had crashed, I probably would have died.
Let me say this: R.I.P. to you, almost dying.
Do what?
If you would have died, R.I.P.
Thanks.
If you would have.
Thanks.
And that counts if you die after this show, because I'm not doing it twice.
If I die after this show?
By helicopter, by plane,
unless
whatever.
I die during this show, I will die after this show.
You know what's died? This conversation. Because I'm trying to make a point about Richard Engel, and you will not, and I'm going to get there. I don't care if you want me to get there.
So back to Richard Engel.
So Richard Engel goes to this small village, and the picture they put in the New York Post and all these other all the video is a 92-year-old woman that they're trying to teach to use this long-range rifle. And there are troops wearing camouflage gear and helmets and all that, teaching them how to use it. Uh-huh. What Richard Engel did not apparently understand is he didn't look at who was teaching them. And the symbols on there are the new neo-Nazi party that's teaching these people in the Ukraine how to fight against the Russians.
So
because
we have Nazis fighting against Russians.
You can't say Nazis. You just have to say
neo-Nazis.
Yeah, because we got wiped out, all the Nazis, the ones that didn't go to Argentina.
Did we?
Yeah.
But well, that's still that flag and these people running around with their swastika.
That's in Canada, and that's only when they have trucks. Well, you know what I love is if there's a Nazi group of people, there's only one flag. That should tell you that's a false flag operation. Right. Well, there's not 20 of them. There's one guy, and it just planted. Yeah.
Well, that's because they don't have very good purchasing power.
You mean they don't have the money to do it, or not that many people make the flag?
Exactly, both of those.
Okay. Oh, so you mean if I had Jeff Bezos money, I could buy as many of those flags as I want?
Probably. Does he buy Nazi flags? I bet you can't order one on Amazon.
I bet if you buy it, you can get it within 2 days because Amazon Prime, if you're signed up, you can watch the movies and get your stuff in 2 days.
So obviously these guys in the Ukraine don't have Amazon Prime.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use Nate's credit card and see how many Nazi things we can get sent to his house. That won't cause any problems.
Probably. Yeah, don't send it here.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
Kelly, there's a package down there for you. Just take it home with you. But don't you think it's odd that when this gets brought out, Richard Engel doesn't have to make an apology? You're dealing with a neo-Nazi party. Oh, by the way, funded by the United States.
Oh my.
So it gets deeper because they're training these. So again, we're writing checks to people. We have to know who they are.
You should know.
Nothing wins like propaganda because the picture of that old bird with that gun counts more than what actually is going on there.
Right.
And we are going, the people now, I think that this morning the poll was 78% of the people in America do not want to go to war with Russia.
78 plus me. So.
All right. So that has to make it 81.
It up to 78 plus me.
I'm not great at math, but that's a lot.
That's a lot.
But even if we went to war with Russia, what is the point? We can't clear out the Ukraine because we'd have to occupy it again.
And it's hard to, I think, it's hard to really articulate what. I mean, Putin kind of, when you listen to him talk, he thinks of Russia as having he thinks of Russia as going all the way to Germany. I mean, he thinks that Poland is actually part of Russia that's kind of in rebellion. I mean, that's kind of his mindset. And so, you know, we do have, I think we do have an interest in maybe protecting some of these Eastern European countries from that kind of aggression. But like I've said already, I don't think that this particular situation has been handled very well from a policy standpoint or from a diplomacy standpoint. I don't think this has been handled very well. And I'm not an expert on foreign diplomacy, but I think that, you know, if you could reach a solution that makes Putin send off his military people home and people in the Ukraine don't have to be subjected to a shooting war on their soil, I think that's a win for everybody. And our whole position is that maybe sometime in the future we might want to make them part of NATO. So we're going to drive a stake in the ground on that. And I mean,
it isn't.
Ukraine produces a lot of wheat,
which I personally love. I'm a big fan of wheat.
It's not like it's a vital source of something that we need in this country. I mean, I don't know what our interest is in. I don't know what our interest is in the Ukraine, other than really kind of checking Russian aggression. If we
I think it's lines on a map.
Yeah.
We care more about the lines on a map that we believe that we're controlling. Again, I think there are more bad guys in this than good guys, but I don't think we should look at ourselves as we're the defenders of everybody's freedom. We should stay out of it because the U.S. is 0 for 3 since World War II. Mm-hmm. So I don't know we want to get in that dance again. Cost American kids their lives going over there. I think you have to believe in what you're fighting for. I understand both world wars, but I don't understand the Vietnam conflict, Iraq war. I don't understand. I feel like we got a break for 6 months, and then inflation took over, and it's like, oh my God, what do we do? I know the default setting. Let's go to war. By the time this airs, the U.S. could be wiped out, just so you know, because it depends how quick Nate edits this, but we could all be gone. So, Stan, rest in peace again from the nuclear holocaust. Let's say winter holocaust is a bad.
That's I guess that's the other end of the spectrum. Every other war that we've been in, we've had we've had basically military superiority. With Russia, I'm not sure. We may have traditional military superiority, but they certainly have a lot of nuclear weapons, and they have the ability to get those nuclear weapons onto our soil. And I don't know. I do not think that the way that this has been handled by the Biden administration is wise. I think that what is being risked is too great for what possible benefit we get from this. I think that they could have solved this with diplomacy. I think maybe not. Maybe Putin had already decided that he was going to do all this stuff and it didn't matter. But as far as I can tell, by the way, just what the mainstream news reports were, we went and had all these summits and basically said, well, we're not barging. We're not going to negotiate anything. But if you want to negotiate, we'll listen. Yeah. But we're not going to change our position. I mean, that's kind of...
Isn't that how it always works? I want to work something out with you, but you have to do exactly the way I do it. Yeah, you're pissed off? I don't know why you're mad.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I think this is just completely a failure in diplomacy, and I would have liked to at least see some real form of negotiation. I mean, heck, with Iran a few years ago, we joined into this treaty and we basically give away everything to an openly hostile country. And then you have a country like Russia, which at least initially was inviting some diplomatic solution, and we don't even enter into the discussion. I don't understand.
I think, Stan, we have to chalk this up to first big mistake that Joe Biden made. Everybody's due one. He's only made one. Fair to say?
Okay.
And if Russia wants to get weapons on our soil, Amazon can get them here in 2 days. Thanks for doing the show today. Brought to you by MyPillow.com. Mike, send an email to C. Stanley Willis. We'll hook it up. We'll see you next week.